It's the Happy Families Podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
What I've been really working on hard as a dad is having regular, gentle, kind touch points with the kids. When they're talking to me, having my phone down or my screen closed and actually focusing on my child rather than the other things that could distract me.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
We love Fridays, especially Fridays when there's a long weekend coming. We're going to keep this one short today so that you can head into your long weekend, be excited about spending time with your family, have Monday off, and spend some time with gratitude in your heart for the Anzacs that have fought for our freedom and given us the amazing country that we live in. This is Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm here with Kylie, my wife and mum to our 6 kids. I'll do better tomorrow. Oh, before we do I'll do better tomorrow, I do need to tell you, the other day, our dog, well, it's not our dog, our daughter's dog, that hasn't been with us for ages because we're moving out of home, was back with us. And I didn't tell you this, but I had to take her to the vet. She swallowed a bag of Scrabble letters, Kylie. Scrabble letters. Coda.
We don't even own Scrabble.
Well, no, that's right, because she swallowed the Scrabble letters. Took her to the vet. No word yet. Hey, just before we actually dive into I'll Do Better Tomorrow, for those of you who are new to the podcast, every Friday we talk about the learnings of the week, the intentional ways that we can be better tomorrow as a result of our experience as parents this past week. Before we do that, we always like to share a little bit of fun stuff as well. And this last week, I found something that I thought you might like. This is a list of proverbs that kids were asked to complete. You know those sayings that everybody knows? I'm going to get you to say the saying, and then I'll tell you what the kids said, okay? And I just want to test to see whether or not you know them as well. Putting you on the spot. Are you nervous?
You know them or you don't know them. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Okay. You strike while the
iron is hot.
Yeah, you do. Except the kids in grade 1 said you strike while the bug is close. It's always darkest before
the dawn?
Correct. Except the kids said it's always darkest before daylight saving time. Another one was you can lead a horse to water, but...
You can't make it drink.
The kids said you can lead a horse to water, but how? But that was it. Don't bite the hand that...
Fed you. Feeds you.
Feeds you, yeah. So they said don't bite the hand that looks dirty. I like this one as well. No news is...
Good news.
Apparently, except these kids thought no news is impossible. A miss is as good as a... I've stumped you.
I don't know that one. A miss is as good as...
A mile. A miss is as good as a mile. You didn't know that one?
No.
It's basically saying if you miss by a little bit, you might as well miss by a mile because you still missed. That's the...
Right.
That's the
no,
idea.
I've never heard that one.
Well, these kids said a miss is as good as a mister. See, it's 2022. We're finally getting the message. How good is that? You can't teach an old dog new...
Tricks.
Except the kids thought it was you can't teach an old dog new math. And the one that I thought was perhaps the most fun of all, the one that I thought I would share is better late than...
Never.
Yeah, except the kids said better late than pregnant.
Oh, gosh.
Get it better late than better. Yeah, of course you get it. Sorry, you've had 6 kids.
Thanks, honey.
All right, let's just focus on the things that we're supposed to be focusing on. I thought they were very funny. I also thought that my joke about the dog eating the Scrabble, no word yet, was great, but you didn't like that at all. So
no, well, talking about words, I had a conversation with one of our daughters over the holidays because she's been doing a bit of work for you.
Yes.
She's actually had to do the subtitles for all of your videos.
Oh, you're going to bring that up. I can't believe you're bringing that up. We're supposed to be talking about I'll Do Better Tomorrow. We're supposed to be building people up here and you're going to slap me down.
No, I'm not going to slap you down, but I am going to highlight that all this time we've been recording the podcast, you have talked to me a lot about all of the verbal crutches that I have.
Things like, as an example, or, it's interesting that, or, yeah.
Yeah. So the subtitles have kind of suggested that you might have a few of your own.
I try so hard not to.
And our daughter said, do you know how many times I've had to get rid of?
And then she's told us all of my verbal crutches. You're in heaven.
I loved it. It was so funny because the reality is we all have them.
Apparently.
Yeah. Even radio announcers.
I'm not a radio announcer anymore.
Well,
Let's be clear about that. I used to be. And you will note that I don't have very many. And it's different.
Well, it's interesting because she said she's had to do a lot.
Well, I try really hard not to have them, and now I'm even more aware of them. And I guarantee if she was doing I'm not. But let's just move on. Can we just move on?
All right. Are you going to share or I?
Yeah, I'll go first because my I'll do better tomorrow was really short. It's really brief, and it's just really simple. Like when it comes to making our family happier and having great quality interactions with the children, and being intentional about things. I don't have any massive stories to tell about a special endearing moment or a complete stuff up this week. It's been a fairly run-of-the-mill week. The kids are back at school. We're living separately for the final week. Today's actually the last day that we're separate. The furniture truck arrives a little bit later today and all of our gear gets moved out of our house. I'm so excited to be coming up the coast with you. And from this point forward, we're back in the same premises. Ongoingly.
Though I don't know where you plan on working.
No, we're going to have some really interesting podcasts and who knows what's going to happen. But what I've been really working on hard as a dad is having regular, gentle, kind touch points with the kids. So just when they enter the room, smiling and being happy. When they're talking to me, having my phone down or my screen closed and actually focusing on my child rather than the other things that could distract me, being delighted in the experiences that they're sharing after school or whatever it might be. Those tiny little intentional moments, the moments that are actually meaningless and don't offer anything, they're the moments that I've been focusing on this week. And it's felt beautiful. I felt like my interactions are richer. I feel like my engagement with the children is stronger. Those gentle touch points have been a real highlight for me. And so I wanted to share that just to highlight that when it comes to I'll do better tomorrow, when it comes to our parenting, we don't have to be doing big things all the time and making a big deal about how great we are as parents. In fact, I think that it's the consistency of doing the unspectacular but important that leads to the best parenting.
Well, you can't have those spectacular moments without the underbed, the foundation of unspectacular day by day, increment by increment, positive experiences with our children.
Yeah, so that's my take-home message for today's I'll Do Better Tomorrow. After the break, we'll find out what Kylie's story is. Just when you think you've got this parenting gig nailed, your child hits some new milestone that leaves you figuratively banging your head against the wall. You wonder, where's the instruction manual? Your growth guide is that instruction manual, a webinar outlining basic milestones so you know where your child's at, where they're going, and what you can expect. Get insights, reassurance, and support from your growth guide. Available online at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. My story is a little bit different to yours.
Yeah, let's hear it.
One of our children is an absolute creative. If you had to
Yes.
pick a word to describe her, it would be creative. And she is creative in the way she dresses, in the things that she chooses to spend her time doing, in the way she acquires money.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, you've got to share this story. Is that what you're going to share? Is that your story?
No, actually wasn't. But now that we're here, she has decided that she doesn't want a job because she wants to focus on her studies right now.
Yep.
But she's feeling the pinch of a very, very empty bank account.
Because I'm not going to keep on giving her cash for nothing.
And so an ad came up for some medical research.
Yes.
And she decided that she'd give it a go. She'd had a friend who'd tried and they'd been pushed back. So we kind of said to her, look, we're not really kind of happy about this.
Pharmaceutical company, let's inject you with something. We'll do a clinical trial and we'll pay you to do it.
But she's thinking, I'm going to get paid.
I'm going to
I'm going to get paid for like a couple of days worth of work.
And it's big money. Like they pay really well.
So anyway, she rang up and did the preliminary interview and she made it through to the next stage. And she came back and she said, so I'm going to do this medical study. She said, do you know how much they're going to pay me?
And it was a large sum. Like I was surprised how much they're paying for a fairly modest level of input. Like not much time.
We were very concerned, obviously.
But they're going to experiment with her with experimental medical drugs. And I'm like, what are you actually going to let them do to your body? Like this is craziness.
Well, one of the questions they asked her was if she was okay with needles.
Yeah. This is the child who faints.
This is the child.
Who have tantrums, who as a 17-year-old we had to drag into the medical facility so she could get a needle. She's 18 now, by the way, so she can do whatever she wants.
But she said, I'm fine.
Yeah. With a big
I said,
smile.
it's amazing what a big money pouch will do.
Yeah, big wad of cash. Yeah, give me a needle.
So anyway, she is 100% creative. And the other day we were driving in the car.
Oh, so that's not your I'll do better
that
tomorrow.
That actually wasn't my I'll do better tomorrow. The other day we were driving in the car and
story anyway.
She turns to me and she says, Mum, I think I know what I want to be when I grow up. And I said, uh-huh. And she said, I think I'm going to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
You and I don't have tattoos. We kind of, it's not our thing.
We're not tattoo people.
And she was
no shame, no judgment if you are, by the way. We're not making any judgments. Just saying we're not tattoo
She
people.
was staring a hole through me.
Yep.
And she
waiting
said,
for the reaction.
Mum, did you hear me? Did you hear what I said? I'm going to be a tattoo artist. She said, can you imagine how cool that job would be? She said, I just love the idea of being part of people's like special moments when they come in and they say they want to have, like their baby's name or whatever. And she kind of listed all of these different things that she thought were spectacular moments that she'd be a part of. And she said,
did you highlight that a lot of those moments would just be drunken idiot moments?
Well, and then I said to her, and she said, well, and I bet you there'd be a whole heap of funny ones as well.
Yeah.
And she said, and meanwhile, I'm just kind of sitting there smiling and I'm listening to her, but I'm not really responding. And she finally looks at me when she realizes she's not going to get the rise out of me that she wanted. And she said, I just don't know how serious anyone would take a tattoo artist that doesn't have a tattoo. And she just left it there. And we both had a really big laugh. And she came home that night and around the dinner table, she decided to see if she'd get a rise out of you.
She put it on me, yeah. And what was my response? I was eating dinner when she said it, and
you put another mouthful of food in your mouth, I believe, when it came out.
Because the response from me when I'm not sure what to respond is always increase the space between what's just happened and response so that I can make sure that the response is the right one.
And then she took it another step further. She decided to tell her grandmother, who is very, very conservative.
Oh, yeah.
And my mum's face literally dropped.
Love it.
All of her siblings were around and they're all looking at me waiting to see what I'm going to do. And I've just got this smile on my face. And then her big sister's lost it and my mum's realised and she's decided she can laugh.
You know what? I think that particular child would probably make a really great tattoo artist. I'm just putting it out there. I think she'd be amazing at it.
And I just love that our kids have these totally different personalities.
Yeah.
And I had an experience in my teenage years that really kind of, I guess, changed the way I wanted to respond to my kids. Me and my friend as a 14-year-olds, we decided we wanted to move out of home. And her mum had a downstairs apartment space that we could use. And so we spent the whole weekend on the sleepover planning everything that we needed so that we could move in together. We told her mum and she was ecstatic. She was so excited. And she said, well, you can use the clock room in that room and you can take the bed from there. And she helped us kind of bring it all together. I went home and told my mum and she lost it. She was so worked up about it. The reality was that it probably was never going to happen. But because of the way my mum responded to me about it, it severed my relationship with her. It actually put a big gap in the relationship. And it meant that I didn't want to tell her any more of the things that I thought I wanted to do with my life. And so, whether my daughter decides to be a tattoo artist or not, it's not actually up to me. It's up to her. And just being able to kind of have that perspective and allow her to explore options. Because anybody who's anybody would know that just because you think you're going to do something doesn't mean that you will. And so often as parents, we get so worked up about what our children think they're going to do without giving them the space to kind of work it out and realise that maybe this isn't what I want to do. Or maybe they do end up down that road, but they're doing what they want to do and their life's going to be so much richer for it.
Yeah, great take-home message. Thanks so much for listening to the Happy Families podcast. We would love it. If you enjoy the podcast, if you could please leave a 5-star rating and review. If you don't enjoy it, that's okay. You don't have to leave a rating or review at all. Just don't listen. But if you like the podcast, please, 5-star ratings and reviews make a difference for other people being able to find the podcast, have it pop up in their feed and make their families happier. The Anzac weekend commences at the end of the day. We really hope that you are able to have a special weekend with your family and that on Monday you can take some time to reflect on the wonderful freedoms that we are so fortunate to have in our country because of the incomprehensible, unspeakable sacrifice of so many for what we have. It's a special day, and we hope that it's a wonderful weekend for you and that you have that sacred time. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer, and if you want more info about making your family happier, we hope that you'll keep on listening to the podcast and also visit us for more at happyfamilies.com.au.